On a bleak autumn morning, the ground trembled under the weight of steel. A formidable armored column of the Russian Federation carved a muddy path through the contested fields of eastern Ukraine, its objective the small village of Krasnopolia. Led by the imposing T-90M Proryev, one of Russia's most advanced main battle tanks, the column was a projection of pure power. Its commanders briefed with intelligence, suggesting only scattered resistance pushed forward with confidence, their faith placed in thick composite armor and sophisticated electronic warfare suites. They were the tip of the spear, a force designed to smash through any defense. But they were moving into a new kind of battlefield. Every meter of their advance was being monitored, not by soldiers in a trench, but by an unseen eye in the sky. This powerful force was being expertly funneled toward a designated kill zone, a choke point on the map labeled the Iron Tooth Crossroads, completely unaware that their strength was about to become their undoing. Miles from the advancing column, concealed in a network of camouflaged dugouts along a wooded ridgeline known as Griffin's Ridge Major, Oleksandr Kovalenko of the Ukrainian 14th Unmanned Systems Battalion watched his tablet. There was no vast command post, only this rugged screen displaying a constellation of friendly and enemy icons. This was the hub of his digital mesh command, a decentralized and highly resilient battle network of his own design. His soldiers were not infantrymen, but 24 FPV drone pilots, their faces hidden behind goggles, hands steady on their controllers. They were a phantom force, invisible to the enemy, yet poised to deliver a blow of overwhelming precision. The clarity of his data was impeccable. High above, a Polish-made Fly-Eye reconnaissance UAV, a crucial Allied asset, circled undetected, feeding a live encrypted video stream of the Russian Federation's column directly into Kovalenko's network. The UAV's software automatically identified and tagged each enemy vehicle, providing the Major with a perfect real-time operational picture. With deliberate taps on the screen, he assigned primary and secondary targets to each of his drone operators, who acknowledged with a silent blinking of their icons. The system was fluid, allowing for dynamic retargeting based on the battle's flow. As the lead T-90M crossed the invisible line that marked the entrance to the Iron Tooth Crossroads, Kovalenko opened the command channel. His voice was the calm eye in a gathering storm. "All stations, Stalker to swarm. We are green. Execute on my mark. Mark." The silent command unleashed a storm of sound. From hidden positions all along Griffin's Ridge, the distinct high-pitched whine of electric motors filled the air as dozens of FPV drones lifted into the sky. These were not elegant instruments of war, but brutally efficient, stripped-down quadcopters. Strapped to each frame was a PG-7VR warhead, a munition originally designed for shoulder-fired launchers, now repurposed into a guided tank killer. Their key feature was a tandem-charge design, engineered specifically to defeat modern armor. The drones flew low and fast, using the terrain as cover. For the pilots, the world became a first-person high-speed rush toward their designated targets. For the soldiers in the Russian Federation column, the first indication of the attack was a sound like a swarm of angry hornets, a noise that was almost immediately drowned out by the thunder of the first impact. A Ukrainian pilot, expertly guiding his drone, bypassed the heavy frontal armor of the lead T-90M and struck the top of the turret. The tandem warhead functioned perfectly. A small, brilliant flash indicated the initial charge had detonated against the explosive reactive armor brick, clearing it away. A fraction of a second later, The main-shaped charge penetrated the exposed steel, sending a jet of molten metal into the tank's interior. The behemoth ground to a halt, a plume of thick black smoke erupting from its hatches. Before the crews of the following vehicles could even process what had happened, the rest of the swarm descended. It was not a piecemeal attack. It was a synchronized, multi-directional deluge of explosives. The Ukrainian pilots, guided by Kovalenko's clear targeting data, were methodical. They prioritized high-value targets, other tanks' command vehicles, and the vulnerable fuel trucks at the rear. The column's disciplined advance shattered into a panicked scramble for survival. In the space of 120 seconds, the once mighty armored fist of the Russian Federation was reduced to a corridor of burning wreckage. Out of the inferno, one crew fought back with incredible tenacity. A Russian Federation T-90M, positioned deep within the formation, began to act as a fire brigade. Its commander, understanding the nature of the threat, ordered the coaxial machine gun to fire wildly into the air, creating a curtain of tracers. The heavy turret swung around, trying to track the small, fast-moving drones. With a hiss, the tank discharged its smoke grenades, instantly shrouding itself in a dense white cloud, blinding the FPV pilots. This single act of defiance created a bubble of resistance in the kill zone. The tank became a symbol of survival, a potential anchor point around which the remaining infantry could rally. Major Kovalenko saw this on his master feed and recognized the danger. A single surviving tank could change the outcome, allowing a portion of the enemy force to escape and report on his unit's tactics. He immediately designated the defiant T-90M as a priority target for 3 of his most skilled operators. Hawkeye 7, 9, and 14, he commanded, converge and neutralize, saturate from all vectors. The 3 Ukrainian pilots acted in concert. The first drone screamed in from a high angle, a deliberate feint to draw the gunner's attention upwards. As the machine gun tilted to engage the second drone shot, in low and fast from the flank, navigating the dissipating smoke to deliver a crippling blow to the tank's engine compartment. The T-90M was immobilized, but its turret still turned defiant to the last. Finally, the third Ukrainian pilot executed a masterful attack, approaching from the front, before popping up and diving directly onto the damaged turret ring. The third explosion was final and absolute, ending the tank's desperate last stand. The annihilation at the Iron Tooth crossroads was a masterclass in 21st century warfare, a victory achieved through the intelligent integration of adapted technology. The primary weapon, the tandem-charge FPV munition, demonstrated a key principle of battlefield innovation. By attaching a proven anti-armor warhead to a cheap disposable drone, Ukrainian forces created a weapon that could bypass millions of dollars in defensive technology. The tandem-charge was the critical element. Its first small explosion is a sacrificial one, designed solely to trigger and defeat the explosive reactive armor that protects most modern Russian Federation tanks. This clears the way for the main-shaped charge to penetrate the primary armor, a 1-2 punch that proved consistently lethal. However, these potent weapons would have been far less effective without the sophisticated nervous system that guided them. The digital mesh command network was the brain of the operation. Crucial targeting information provided by the high-altitude Polish Fly-Eye UAV was streamed not as a simple video feed, but as actionable digital data. This allied asset allowed Major Kovalenko to see the entire battlefield with perfect clarity, long before his own operators were in range. His network then distributed this information, allowing dozens of pilots to deconflict their flight paths and attack their assigned targets simultaneously from multiple angles. It was this seamless fusion of Allied intelligence technology with Ukrainian tactical command that transformed a group of individual drones into a truly intelligent and devastating swarm. As the last drone expended its energy, a profound silence settled over the battlefield, punctuated only by the roar of flames and the sharp crack of cooking off ammunition. The Iron Tooth Crossroads was now a graveyard of steel. The battle damage assessment confirmed by the same Polish flyeye that had initiated the engagement was stark. More than a dozen tanks and armored fighting vehicles belonging to the Russian Federation were confirmed destroyed or disabled. The spearhead of their attack had been completely broken. For the Ukrainian forces under Major Kovalenko, the victory was overwhelming and achieved without a single casualty on their side. The cost was measured in expended drones, each one a negligible expense compared to the multi-million-dollar armor it had destroyed. Later in the quiet of his makeshift command post, Kovalenko reviewed the mission recordings. He paused on the footage from the drone that had delivered the final blow to the defiant T-90M. For a fleeting second before impact, the drone's grainy camera had captured the face of a young Russian crewman in the commander's hatch, his expression a mixture of terror and disbelief. Kovalenko stared at the image for a long moment. The victory was a tactical necessity, a brilliant execution of a new way of war, fought with remote controls and digital screens. But the footage was a sobering reminder that behind every icon on his map was a human being. The cold, efficient calculus of this new warfare could not erase the fundamental human tragedy of its consequences. The battle at the Iron Tooth Crossroads was not an isolated incident. It was a watershed moment in the history of ground warfare. For decades, the main battle tank has been the undisputed symbol of military might. That supremacy is now fundamentally challenged. This engagement proved that a smaller, more agile force, leveraging low-cost networked drone technology, can decisively defeat a larger, more heavily armored conventional opponent. The victory for Ukraine was not won with a better tank, but with a better idea. That idea is that a swarm intelligently directed and armed with the right tools can overwhelm even the strongest individual defenses. The future of conflict is here, and it belongs to those who can master the art of the intelligent swarm. If you value clear cinematic battlefield analysis that gets to the heart of how warfare is evolving, consider subscribing to Military Cinematic News. We'll continue to bring you the stories that define the battlefields of tomorrow.